Oh well, what a TT it was. TT was back, is over now. It is Saturday, just after the senior race. TT is over.
And we had an extra day, and the senior race got the full 6 laps in, which was good, bit of a bonus, but many ups and downs over the fortnight. Come on, Frank, you've been out and about. What's your take?
I was so excited to see it back. And it was great to see TT back, but I don't think it was the TT we all wished for. And that's, mainly down to the 5 people who paid the ultimate price for, well, as we always say, doing what they loved. It's such an old phrase, isn't it? I really don't like using it. It's what people say.
It is, but this is the TT, so there's nothing unusual about it. We've had fatalities in racing before, and all the old arguments. It's not the time or the place to talk about, well, Mount Everest, claims 50 victims a year and so forth. It's the TT, and it's an event that's going to go on and on and on. And we're just actually driving through the grandstand start and finish area. Frank, did you spend much time up here? Did you go in the village? Did you purchase a bargain burger?
Oh, I don't eat burgers at the moment. But yeah, look, everything's already been taken down. But tomorrow evening, nothing will be left of it. But yeah, I was up here all the time, and it was nice to, like, a lot of people came up to me and said they recognized me from the YouTube videos.
The YouTube video that said what?
The
How many
TT
views?
travel guide.
Yeah.
It doesn't have that many. It's like 25,000-30,000. But
that's doing a good service though for the Isle of Man, for those people coming here who don't know what to do about getting a SIM card and what have you. But I thought the village was great. It had a good vibe to it. I thought the live streaming screen, that was exceptional, wasn't it?
It was good. I mean, they had a problem at the start, and you fully expect that.
Yeah.
From such a complex system, that there's a bit of a hiccup when you first go live. You can test things, right? I mean, I work in product development, I used to. You can test things, but you can never test a system like that with 50,000, 100,000 or a million viewers. It's just, you can't test that. So they did, they fixed it quickly, and everyone has since been saying what an absolute exceptional coverage it was. And today I went down to, I didn't even want to watch the senior because it was a bit down today with all the things that happened, but went down to Quarterbridge, and people are standing there now with their phone out, watching the video while the bikes go by, and it's a new level of following the race. It's much, it's the next level from your little radio in your ear, and it's great. They did a really, really good job.
Well, this is the next level, isn't it? It's the road race that's over a century in age, and now it's become digitized, so you can be sat on a hedge somewhere and you get the real effect of a motorcycle travelling past at 165 on one wheel, and then you can refer to your phone as to what's happening around the course.
Exactly, it's brilliant.
And that is such a leap, and I don't think that we can actually grasp the importance of this. I think this is just going to take TT on to the very, very next level.
But TT needs more to survive than fancy HD video. It needs to have I think a closer look at what it wants to be. Does it want to be more lap records every year, and more? I mean, fine, the crashes we had, they weren't lap record crashes. They were smaller machines and they were sidecars. But still, I think it needs to take a good hard look at itself.
In fact, we're just going past the tragic site of the impact point on Aggo's Leap, and we're not going to talk about it. I think that's unfair. It's the same crash. It's lightning has struck twice, I think, in a place where it's almost down to the square inch, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Where we've had 2 incidents in a week, sidecars, and it's on a newly laid, road surface, and I think we'll just leave it there, let the experts come up with their conclusions. But we're very sorry to everyone involved and everyone around, because the actual ripple has gone, beyond the shores of the Isle of Man.
Yeah, but it's been a good TT. I think with visitor numbers, some say it's fewer than last time, some say it's more. We'll see, and when the count is out, when the steam packet is counted, how many they brought back in the airport and whatnot. It did feel busy. It did definitely feel really busy.
I don't think there was much leverage in the hotel room availability. I think there was a little. I mean, it did feel that maybe we're a little bit under capacity, but that could have been saved by 5-10%. And in the long game, we've got through COVID. Everyone was kind of climbing back on the TT train. So fair play to everyone that got stuck in. And what I'll tell you something, I was lucky on this last fortnight. I got to take care of some very good visitors.
Anyone noteworthy?
Well, I'll just go into a bit of detail, but I had a couple from California who love the place so much they want to come and live here, and I'm not joking. I've had a follow-up email because it sounds like California is dreadful crime-wise, and the place is going to be going on fire. You can't even have a barbecue in your back garden like you know, the traditional way. And then I had some really good groups, and what I can say is that the food quality and the service at the local restaurants in Douglas, they say, was second to none. There's one restaurant in particular where some really big hitters, private jet job, they were completely blown away. So that was one in the North Key area, so fair play to you. But we also stepped in last minute to help out with the concerts at 1886.
That was an amazing venue. Someone, I mean, he's probably lost money on it, but fair play to putting it on and, you know, taking a chance and seeing the potential of what everyone calls an ugly town square, and he turned it into a pretty amazing venue. So that's...
Well, doesn't this speak volumes? And I know Douglas councillor, but the Isle of Man in general.
Go on.
We've had some vacant, redundant space that is wasteland in the middle of the town centre, and it's taken someone with a bit of gumption, a bit of cash to go, you know what, we're going to make something of this. And right up to when the event started, you know, there are people decrying it. Oh, it's going to be, you know, a real hole, it's going to be a dump. And what did we get? We got one of the biggest acts in the world here. We had Nile Rodgers. Nile Rodgers on stage. Incredible. And I've got a little story about that.
Go on.
Sorry about this, folks. I'm really sorry. But if Carlsberg did driving jobs, this is it. I got the job of running Niles from the airport to the Ramsey Park Hotel, which is where they stayed, which is quite bizarre when you think about it. And the man himself, 70 years old, who is the music, what are we overtaking it? What is that, a unicycle or something?
No, it's one of those lying down bicycles.
Oh, right. Very good, all credit to him. And yeah, so Niles, we say because we're best mates now, he's a motorsport enthusiast, he's a nut. So I had an hour chatting on the TT course about the TT and all that goes on with it. So I'm very grateful for that. And then I managed to get to look after the band, who are hilarious. And then what, you know, like an hour or two later, you're there in the evening with your ticket that you forked a few quid out for, and it was worth every penny. Stood there with me pint, about 20 feet away. They're doing all my favourite tunes, the music of my life. And I'm thinking, I got paid for that. Absolutely fantastic. So thanks 1886 and all that, the madness and the Boomtown Longtails and the darkness. They were on the bus this morning.
Dude.
Yeah, nice crowd, great. So
cool.
Superb.
How do you get those jobs? I'm in the wrong job.
Yeah, but I'm a taxi driver, remember? Just a lowly taxi driver.
Ah, but there's not many left of those.
That's right. Well, there's 100
by the queue at the sea terminal.
Right, let's talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about public transport, taxi service. Come on.
Well, let's be, you know, always try and generally be positive about the Isle of Man, and if there's criticism, it should be constructive, and I don't like to be negative. But Bas Bannon let the island down. And Bas Bannon, by that I don't mean the drivers, I mean Bas Bannon management, whoever runs the place, let the island down. In the last 2 weeks and the last few months, with, you know, driver shortages, with services being cancelled, this place is being subsidized by how many million a year? Loads. Has a shiny fleet of Mercedes buses, and it seems there is a basic failure of running a bus service, because how many were cancelled? And you cannot have the busiest 2 weeks of the year on the island and cancel dozens of bus services a day. It's ridiculous.
Just trying to spread themselves too thinly, covering weddings and parties and cruise ships.
Yeah, what's that
Just
about?
stick to scheduled services. They've got a great fleet, great set of drivers. Just stick to what you're good at, which is where people are waiting at a bus stop to go and see an elderly relative, get home or whatever, and you expect the bus to be there. That's it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Isn't that it? That's what.
Yeah, but they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, but as a result, I was down, you know, I was all over town filming for TT. And I went down to sea terminal to see the bikes arrive. And every time the boat came, there was a huge queue of foot passengers left standing at the taxi rank because there's no taxis.
Well, we're 100 taxis down, I think, or 100 drivers.
Wow.
And COVID, didn't help. A lot of drivers gave up and moved on to new jobs because, with running a car, you just think about it. The running costs must be, what, £5 a year for a taxi? Just think about that, folks. I think it works out at about £4 an hour. So it's a tough goal. Come on, Isle of Man government, support your taxis. Let's give some a bit of a help. Make our taxis green and shiny and friendly.
Well, that's the thing. We have the potential over here to be world leaders in many things, right?
Oh.
But no willingness, no vision, no.
Imagine that. You roll up at the airport and you've got a fleet of uniformed taxis, electric-powered hybrids, but sending out a really good message. So, if you're watching, anyone from Isle of Man government, come on, just get it sorted because the airport, it needs to be our big welcome. It's our window box, isn't it?
Let's hope this. They just got a new airport director, right? Because if we look at the place, whoever was in charge before, not naming any names because you don't need to, you know where it was. What the hell were they doing for the last few years? The place looks run down. There's no positive way about it. It's run down. And overgrown signs in the car park. It looks like, if you're in the car park, it looks abandoned. It looks like it's not even an active facility at the moment. If you go inside, it looks worn. What were they doing for the last few years?
Yeah, it's a bit like a set from that series on Netflix about Chernobyl.
Yeah, or Zombieland.
That and a couple of the hotels on the island, but we're not going to go into that. We'll move on.
Well, there's a new director coming, so hopefully he can, hopefully he's competent, and hopefully he can spruce it up and make it what it needs to be, a functioning small regional airport. We don't need Heathrow on sea. I mean, fog. We had loads of cancellations because of fog. Because with the runway extension, whatever genius was in charge before, took some of the runway lights away. So now we're actually in a lower category for approaches, which means the planes just turn around when there's fog. I mean, how idiotic do you have to be to not get the basics right?
I can only imagine the opening conversation with Tim Crookall is going to be saying, look, we're just getting our arse kicked here. Let's sort it out. So we look forward to that one. Anything else caught your eye? What about the nightlife and what have you? Did you see much what was going on? A lot of people out and about, weren't there?
A lot of people out and about. What I noticed is that we are getting a new generation of TT fans coming over. I wouldn't say a new type, but certainly new fans coming. And a lot of them, I think, still needs, in a way, maybe educating is the right term to use when it comes to that this is very different, which is what I try to do with my video, right? Yeah. It's like, this is not like any short circuit racing where you can just, or rally stage where you can cross the track, or where it doesn't matter if your beer can gets blown onto the track. It does matter.
Yeah.
And there have been so many. I've never seen so many objects on the track.
That was scary, wasn't it? Yeah. That was scary.
I've seen energy drink cans on Glen Crotchery Road. I've seen a sidecar. The video somewhere. Yeah. Hit it at full whack. I mean, it was like, if that hits his tire, it's over.
It's doomed, isn't it?
But luckily it went in between and flew out.
Well, maybe some good information, videos and messages for next year's event. I think that would be most welcome. Don't be a dickhead. Hang on to your stuff.
Yeah, they need to, I think, emphasize that a little more and not just print it in the... I mean, they tried to... The other thing I really liked, they had... Obviously, we always had the Linksfahren bitte signs for the Germans, and they actually installed on the right side of the road. So if a German reads it, it's like, oh, and hopefully he goes to the left. They had radio adverts in German. Yeah. And they were really, really good. Like, obviously it's sounded like a native speaker. If it's not a native speaker, I'm very impressed. And they were really good. Like, I heard them a few times, I was like, wow. Yeah. Oh, you're going to have to say hello to the fairies in German, okay? No. Because we're coming over the bridge. No, we're going over the bridge. I'll do it. I'll say it in German. Hello, the fairies. Wunderbar. So, we'll curse now.
So there we go. But it's funny, I think that the Linksfahren signs, I mean, they were installed, I think, the 80s, 90s, when you'd have groups of bikers coming from Europe on the beer. There's no doubt about it. The Germans, big burly Germans in all the leather and all that, supping pints, and they'd forget, which side of the road we're on. But those days have gone.
True.
those days have gone. We don't have like, is it Assen? There was a big motorcycle event at Assen, you know, they have like 200,000 people. We'd get a portion of that coming here, quite a rebellious gang. And that's not anymore, is it?
No.
That doesn't happen. So perhaps we need to adjust that and just have the basic education for those who come here that aren't quite up to date with motorcycling. Because people are coming here as a bucket list holiday.
Yeah, the TT is, you know, hip again, if you want to. I mean, 2007, I think it peaked, and it went downhill a bit because everyone, you know, 100 years, so the steam was gone. And then North One had the new TV deal, so it got refreshed coverage, bigger coverage, so that picked up again.
Yeah.
And now they're building up on this in a good way. I know North One looked at the budget that was available and weren't interested. That's why Greenlight did it, and then they did it with the Live, and actually it's better than what we did. And I used to work for North One. Okay.
Yeah.
This year was just amazing. What they did, basically the way we did it with North One, was we had different camera positions. So we had 10 camera teams, but we only filmed the top 10 in every lap. That's what nobody knows. So we used to film the top 10, then pack up, run to another position that was pre-scheduled. So for example, we filmed the first lap, first 10 starters at St. Ninian's petrol station. As soon as the 10th one is gone by, we pack up, run over the bridge, run down to bottom of Bray Hill, film the second 10 there, because we have 15 minutes to get there. Then we'll pack up again, run down to Quarter Bridge, film the third lap, the first 10 there, and that way we have 10 camera teams, but it looks like we have 100 people. And
well,
this year they just did it with static cameras everywhere,
yeah,
and live, and that's much better. Yeah,
incredible. And I
much better model, much better way to do it.
And it was quite cheap, wasn't it, to watch it? Was it 15 quid?
Yeah, that was really good value.
But honestly, that's going to grow, isn't it? Next year it'll be, if it's anything to go with 15 quid, will turn into 70 quid. Isn't that the metric?
Let's hope not. But I mean, they did other good things. You know, the program was cheaper. Fine, some of my German friends complained that it's only one program now and not two, and that the race guide isn't separate. But come on, they went from 18 to 10 pounds.
Yeah,
it's cheaper. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
So they did some good things. Absolutely.
And the Manx radio coverage, I like that. It was kind of zippy and snappy and funky, and we had boys and girls involved, and it seems to just have that bit of edge. So, and Chris Kinley, spot on, very, very good, and the rest.
So yeah, they are modernising TT, which is great, but I think it needs to be modernised in more ways than just, you know, the coverage and just the rounds. It needs a hard look at itself and how it's.
We did quite a lot of driving for the TT Village, which is on the site of the old prison. Great to see it being used for something useful. And a lot of the bookings that I came across were where you've got random Americans who aren't great motorcycle enthusiasts, but they come here, they're doing Ireland, they're doing the UK, and they have a stopover on the Isle of Man just for like 3 days, see a couple of races. But when you chat to them, they're totally clueless about who's taking part or what's going on, and it's back to the Harley Davidson when they're back home. So that's the market we're getting, isn't it? So I think we kind of got to grow that way.
There are new fans. There are definitely new fans, and it's not. I mean, my German friends who come here for 20 years, they know every single rider, and you know, every single engine and machine, and the history of the team, and all the riders know them. I mean, Wheelie Connie's got nothing on some of those guys. But now we have a new generation of fans, and that's great. It means there is interest, and in the age of Red Bull, and I hope Red Bull never ever gets involved with the TT. That would be a disaster. Sounds counterproductive, but if you look into how Red Bull treats its extreme sports athletes, it is not something I would want to see here. Absolutely, absolutely not. If they ever knock on the door, send them back.
Okay.
But it is kind of that direction. It's, you know, it's extreme, it's cool. That's where we're going. I mean, I opened a TikTok account the other day just to try it out, and I posted a TT clip with that Gas Monkey guy and some of his bikes and Hickey. And one of my first TikToks ever. I'd never used TikTok before, and I got like 125,000 views on the first day. So obviously there is an interest in that kind of audience. And what I would love to do next year, hello Isle of Man government, if you want to work with me. I've got so much good traction this year with people on YouTube and social media. I would love to bring YouTubers, TikTokers, those kind of people over and introduce them to it and show them around and get coverage that way. That is the logical way to grow it. You know, I've seen how much traction there is, how much, if you have genuine interaction and content, people love it. And that's, I think, the way we're going to go. We're going to have a younger audience, a younger TT. I think we're still going to have a TT.
It's going to be an interesting message, isn't it? I mean, I was just listening to Radio 4 just before we got moving, and obviously they're talking about some of the unfortunate things that have happened, but it'll be interesting to see what the interest is going to be for next year. I only see like the bookings, the numbers are going to increase, aren't they?
Yes, pretty sure.
No question about that. I tell you who I did bump into, Gerhard Berger.
Seriously?
He was on the island, yeah. It's not
Wow.
often that I stop and have a photograph with someone, but I got him, so.
Wow, that's
Yeah, we had did we have the Prince of, was it like the Prince of Brunei or Bahrain, maybe? He was about.
you get to meet all the celebs.
I
don't
tell
meet
you,
any. But I don't know any. So.
I think we had a member of the royal family as well.
Was it?
Yeah, we did. Princess someone, can't remember. But anyway, we'll save that one for next
So
time,
we're
shall
at the
we?
airport. I have to fly out. TT is over. Back to work.
And
Back to the day grind.
yeah, back to the grind. Yes, it'll all be gone. All the furniture will be off next week, and we'll be doing our thing. So we'll come back maybe and have a chat in a few weeks' time. And if you like what we're saying, just put some comments in the box. Anything we want to discuss in the future.
Well, we have big things planned, haven't we?
We have indeed.
We just haven't had time to do them yet. But watch out, Roundel Live is going to be next level soon.
Okay.
But first I have to fly off.
Bye-bye.
Earn some money. See ya.
Very good.